And we are running. Welcome to the World Trail Running Network once again. In this episode, we are going to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, which is trail running in China. Having studied Chinese and having spent more than 10 years in China, I spent a lot of time outdoors there and had my first touch points with trail running in China. And so obviously the Chinese trail running scene is something that I'm very interested in. I'm not sure how much of an international talking point this is right now. My own personal bias might be betraying me on how important people think trail running events in China and Chinese trail running athletes really are. But wins of Chinese athletes in the UTMB 2018 or the Hong Kong 100 and a number of Chinese podiums in main international events like the Tour de Géant, etc. have certainly put the Middle Kingdom on the trail running map. You can watch our first video for the Hong Kong 100 results this year. So I hope that we can give you at least some understanding of how trail running in China works. Originally, I was thinking of doing just one video about this, but after some research I decided to split the episode in three. So we are going to talk about some more general topics like geography, population and socioeconomics today, before we take a look at the different most notable events in China in the next installment, and then the last episode will be dedicated to Chinese trail running athletes. That being said, it is not easy to find quality information. And that is not only because of the language problem. Mainly it is because China is blocking access to all the main international social media sites for their citizens. So if you are in mainland China, you are not able to access Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp and the likes. China Internet Universe offers a lot of domestic alternatives like Youku or Baidu Haokan for video, WeChat as a replacement for Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram, or Weibo as an alternative to Twitter. But they are all pretty scattered, and WeChat, for example, works on an invitation-only basis, so you need someone to introduce you to an athlete instead of being able to just search and follow. That also means that you will not be able to find a lot of useful information on the international platforms, well, because Chinese trail runners just can't use them. Nonetheless, I tried to gather insights to give you an idea why many people think China is the next hotbed for trail running. Okay, let's dive into some background information and state the obvious first. China is a large country with a lot of people and a very diverse geography. China, with almost 1.5 billion people, has the biggest population in the world. And to give you an idea on how large the landmass is, just look at this. But China is not just big, it is also incredibly diverse in terms of landscapes. You got jungles close to the Vietnamese-Laotian border, you got the Tibetan Plateau and the Himalayas up to the highest point on Earth, the Mount Everest. You got the Gobi Desert, the Taklamakan Desert, the grasslands of Mongolia, and the tundra of the northeast bordering Russia. 1/3 of China is covered by mountains, which makes trail running kind of an obvious option for a growing, affluent society with an appetite for the outdoors. As I already said, China has the biggest population in the world. But in addition, this population is growing richer every year. People in China are earning 8 times more these days than they did 40 years ago, and in just the last decade, average wages have almost tripled. From 2012 to 2018 alone, the middle income bracket of China's population grew from 300 million people to 400 million people. These people are also oftentimes internationally educated or interested in a more individual lifestyle than back in the hardcore communist times. I'm not saying that all of these are crazy rich Asians, but these people got money on their hands and an interest in outdoor activities. And sports, especially outdoor sports, is becoming extremely popular in China. What started with a couple of hiking enthusiasts in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, or Guangzhou is now a large movement of hikers, outdoor campers, cyclists, climbers, trail runners, and the like, who got time and money to spend and can't be bothered to play ping pong anymore. So naturally, the number of people not just jogging in the park, but real runners going out on the trails and into the mountains has grown a lot. Here we are looking at an article that gives us some numbers on the state of the sports in China. 44% of all Chinese who do sports cited running as their favorite physical activity, and in 2018, estimations saw 20 million Chinese running in general, more than 5.8 million of them participating in marathons, and more than 422,000 participating in ultra trails. The number of race organizers in China is estimated at over 1,000, and with that, the number of events has mushroomed to more than 500 in 2019. Don't ask me what the other 500 race organizers are doing. In 2018, there have been more than 50 races of 100 kilometers and almost 20 100-milers or even longer stage races in China. A lot of people argue that the quality of the events is oftentimes not very good. Also, 3/4 of all the events have less than 1,000 participants and are much shorter than the marathon distance. Most of the events take place in the eastern coastal region, where you have the largest and richest population. And another hotspot are mountainous provinces such as Yunnan with the cities of Dali and Lijiang, and Sichuan with the stunning scenery of, for example, Aba County. We are going to take a closer look at the most important races in the next China episode. Okay, this was a bit dry and mainly talking about numbers, but I hope I was able to explain a little why trail running in China has exploded as it did over recent years and why I think it is going to grow even further in the future. In the next China episode, we will take a look at some of the most important events to give you an impression of how ultra trails in China look like. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the World Trail Running YouTube channel. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. I promise we will follow up. And thanks for watching this video, and be sure to also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So long!